watching Dontaesboxingnation.
Boy, oh boy, the road just keeps getting tougher and tougher for Yoriokas Gamboa, doesn't it? I mean, first he went through the fiasco with Mikey Garcia, in which he practically had to get on his knees and beg Garcia to get in the ring. I told you guys before, Gamboa, he tried to do everything he possibly could to get that fight with Mikey Garcia. And Mikey Garcia and Robert Garcia, they had no plans at all of ever facing Yoriokas Gamboa. I mean, talk about a sigh of relief, huh? Man, I know Team Garcia and a lot of Garcia fans, boy, they must have wiped the sweat off their forehead and said, thank you, Jesus, when they found out Gamboa signed a contract to fight against Terrence Crawford. Now, sure, that may be some good news for Team Garcia, but I don't know how much good news that is when it comes to Yoriokas Gamboa. I mean, let's just start off with looking at this picture right now. Boy, oh boy, if picture said 1,000 words, huh? Not only does Gamboa make Terrence Crawford look like Deontay Wilder when it comes to the height advantage, but just look at the face expression on Terrence Crawford. Don't he look like he's saying to him, you know you done fucked up, right? You know you done fucked up, right? That looks like that's exactly what he's saying to Gamboa right now. Let's go ahead and talk about this fight a little bit. Now, I know the natural assumption is going to be, look at how tall Terrence Crawford is. Look at the height advantage that he has. Look at the fact that Gamboa, he's been out of the ring for so long. So on and so forth. I mean, this is the natural consensus, right? Now, to a certain extent, you may have a point to think that way. But at the same time, sometimes just looking at the numbers can be misleading. Sometimes it can be very deceiving to just look at the numbers. Oh, you know, this guy is this age, or he ain't been in the ring, or, you know, or his weight is this and that. Sometimes if you look too much into those numbers, they can mislead you. Before Bernard Hopkins had got Oscar De La Hoya in the ring, Bernard had actually been calling out Oscar for quite some time, a long time. And, you know, Oscar would never really respond. He really had no interest in the fight at all. And then all of a sudden, Bernard Hopkins, he had like about maybe 2 performances that didn't look like Bernard Hopkins' best work. In fact, Mr. Larry Merchant, he took it so personal that he went in the ring and made an infamous statement following Bernard Hopkins' fight against Murad Hakkar in Philadelphia. Larry Merchant, he would get in the ring in the post-fight interview and basically just start off the interview telling Bernard Hopkins how displeased he was with his performance. And Bernard, you know, went back and forth with him. And the main thing I could remember is Larry Merchant saying, well, I'm going to make sure that this doesn't ever happen again. Referring to the fight, referring to Bernard Hopkins fighting on HBO. And I remember Bernard Hopkins, he looked at the camera and said, oh, you guys heard it? See, you heard what he said, right? So the point that I'm making is Bernard Hopkins, he looked like he was getting a little older. At least that's what HBO, they were saying throughout the fight. And once Oscar De La Hoya, seen this, then all of a sudden, then we start hearing talks of that being a fight in the future. Okay, that's when Oscar said he has an interest. And then I remember Oscar saying, ain't no 38-year-old man gonna whoop me. In other words, Oscar De La Hoya, he was in somewhat of a trance looking at nothing but the numbers. He automatically thought that this man was over the hill, and he ran right into a damn trap. That was the only way Bernard Hopkins could even get Oscar in the ring, is to not have the best performance and make him think that he was getting old. Not to say that it was intentional. But the point that I'm making, once again, guys, is, like I said, you cannot just base things off of numbers all the time. And I think you have a little of that situation going on with this fight right here. Believe it or not, I don't believe that Gamboa is going to come in the ring looking rusty against Terrence Crawford. I think we're going to see the best of Gamboa. And we definitely going to see the best of Terrence Crawford. This is a very, very difficult fight to call, guys. It's a very difficult fight to call. Like I said, I know the natural assumption is going to be go for Terrence Crawford, but I don't look at it that way. You know, I have a lot of respect for Yoriokas Gamboa. I have a lot of respect for Terrence Crawford. I mean, a fight, at this magnitude when it comes to the elite competition that we're dealing with right here with these two fighters. It's unbelievable to me. I mean, you seldomly see this type of skill against each other. I mean, when you look at the tale of the attributes, not to be confused with the tale of the tape. When you look at the tale of the attributes, I mean, it's almost dead even right down the middle. What I basically mean is, when you look at all of the attributes of both of these fighters can pretty much match each other in any category. When it comes to power, I think they're pretty much even. I mean, you could probably lean to one of them, slightly, but overall it's pretty even. When it comes to speed, you could give a slight edge to probably Gamboa, but overall, once again, it's close to even. Boxing intelligence, counterpunching, head movement, defense, ring generalship, footwork. I think it's even all the way across the board for both of these fighters when it comes to those categories. Now, there's one category you would probably have to definitely give Terence Crawford over Gamboa, and that is the chin department. Now, don't get me wrong, because I'm not going to sit here like some of these people who assume just because Gamboa has been knocked down so many times that he doesn't have a chin, okay? Gamboa has a terrific chin. He has a terrific chin. But if you're comparing his chin to Terence Crawford, of course, you're going to give the edge to Terence Crawford because he's never been knocked down. I haven't even seen him hurt yet. And if he was, we couldn't tell. So you have a lot of different type of chins in the sport of boxing, okay? You have an Amir Khan type chin. And what an Amir Khan type chin is, Khan is a type of fighter, you catch him on the button and he gets hurt so bad that he can't even recover. At least the majority of times he gets caught with a clean shot to the chin, okay? And then you have that, what I like to call the Aaron Pryor, Felix Tito Trinidad chin. That type of chin where your opponent, he knocks you down and now he feels he done really messed up because he know now you're going to get up and you're going to be even more fired up. And that's the type of chin that I think Gamboa has. He's been knocked down a whole bunch of times, but when he gets back up, you better look out because he coming for revenge in a split second. I know a lot of people criticize Gamboa when he got knocked down and hurt pretty bad against the Filipino fighter. I believe his name was Farinas, Michael Farinas. Now, see, my thing is, while you have some people criticizing him for getting knocked down, I was actually more impressed with Gamboa because of how he got back up. I mean, if you guys can go back and watch the replay of Gamboa getting knocked down in that fight, I can guarantee you 97% of the fighters today, they would not have gotten up from that punch that Gamboa got caught with. That was the exact same punch that Manny Pacquiao got caught with by Marquez. And not only did Gamboa get back up, but he got back up and continued to take control of the fight. All right? So I think that Gamboa's chin is very underestimated. But for the sake of this fight with Terence Crawford, obviously in a 12-round championship bout, getting knocked down a couple times is not going to help you on the scorecards. Advantage Terence Crawford. Now, another advantage that I'm going to give Terence Crawford, I know I talked about the numbers, but don't get it twisted. I said sometimes the numbers can be misleading, okay? But there's a couple numbers in this situation that I think is going to be a big advantage for Terence Crawford. And really it's because all the other attributes, these fighters are so even to me. So the biggest attribute that stands out, or advantage that stands out for Terence Crawford, it probably is going to be his height. Terence Crawford, he knows how to box. He knows how to use the distance. And, if he could keep, LC Clone, from getting on the inside, which he loves to do, which that's going to be the only way Gamboa is going to win this fight, of course. If Terence could keep him on the outside, then he should be able to control this fight. But once again, that's easier said than done. Terence Crawford, even though he has all the momentum right now, and I know he's going to probably be the favorite in this fight, at the same time, Terence Crawford has never fought an Olympic gold medalist Cuban fighter with damn near 400 amateur fights. and has been blazing even in the pro rankings. Now, and at the same time, Gamboa, he's never fought an American slick style undefeated champion that's towering over him like Deontay Wilder. So once again, guys, this is a very, very tough fight to call. This fight should be very competitive. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the night of the fight, one of these guys, they just completely take charge and thoroughly outbox the other one. It is very possible. And just to reiterate what I just said before, I truly don't believe that if Gamboa loses this fight, it's going to have anything to do with Russ. I truly believe we're going to see the best Gamboa available. And another thing I forgot to bring up at the beginning of this video. Do you guys, or did you guys realize how easy this fight came together and became a done deal? In contrast to the Gamboa versus Mikey Garcia fiasco? Gamboa and Team Gamboa, they've been trying to negotiate with Mikey Garcia for months and months and months to no success. And I already told you guys that Mikey Garcia, he tried to turn that fight down just to offer HBO another opponent that HBO didn't even deem worthy to put on HBO, right? HBO, they had to actually tell Garcia, no, we're not going to let you fight this guy on our network. You're going to have to fight someone who is going to be an elite fighter, like a Gamboa. So once again, the point is, Mikey Garcia, he avoided this fight for months and months and months. All of a sudden, Gamboa, he sits down at the negotiation table with Terrence Crawford, and the deal is done damn near as soon as he could sit down. So let me tell you how I see this fight possibly playing out. I see Terrence Crawford going in there, using his size, his height advantage, using his reach, and eventually confusing and frustrating Gamboa to where Gamboa may even start to question himself and maybe start to, give up a couple rounds, and next thing you know, start falling behind and be forced to be a little bit more reckless due to desperation. So that's pretty much how I see this fight at the time being. I may make some more videos in the future depending on what changes I see in training or whatever the case may be. But that's how I see it right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other way, where Gamboa, completely outboxes Terrence Crawford. I mean, anything is possible, but I'm leaning slightly towards Terrence Crawford for this fight. All right, guys, I'm on to the next one.